When we look at people like Wendy Williams and Mary J. Blige, we've seen scenarios when women are the breadwinners, and when men can, they will. When they've been put in a position to be in a situation where they can take advantage of a woman who is a high earner, they have the propensity to do so. So I think that, again, it's a character thing, and I want to see the data that supports the idea that estranged wives go after um, money more than estranged husbands do. You guys are talking about alimony. You're conflating two completely different things, because alimony typically, when people get married, a man is making more money in that situation. But as we know, as people age and time passes, a lot of the times women end up earning more as time progresses, and sometimes they end up making more money than the man. It really just depends. And also, the data does tell us that married men typically make more money than their single counterparts. So we can approach this on so many angles. The reason why a married man will typically make more money than his single counterpart is because he has the support of a wife. Okay, and that makes all the difference in the world. He gets to go off and chase his career dreams and be supported, and have his children being reared at home, and has someone to manage the home. And there are so many benefits for a man being married. Again, something else that's supported by the data. The data shows that married men are typically more happy and live a longer life than their single counterparts, and it's the opposite for women. Again, the data supports that. Married women typically don't live as long as their single counterparts. So we can conflate a lot of things, but one thing that hasn't been talked about this whole time is, where is the data that says estranged women are more likely to take advantage and take money of a man they are not physically together with? I have yet to hear anybody present that evidence.
I agree. I guess it was hypothetical.
It sure was.
Hypothetical.
We want to be
I was
gender.
just
We
saying,
want to
based
be
on what
gender
I hear in
non-conforming
my
so bad. We
experience,
just
it wasn't
I
just
think
like
Marcus had something.
Mhm.
Go ahead. He had your
All right,
finger up.
I
let's just
did,
Go
but I
ahead,
forgot
Ruth.
what I was about to say. So
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Ruth.
go to
DJ.
the
Say,
next.
look, you gonna
Go
go,
ahead, Ruth. You
Marcus?
got it.
Okay, but
Ruth, go ahead. You got it.
because I was waiting for you to say, DJ, the numbers for the retirement, because when you started, you said women were making more money. Then when you got to the married part, now the men are making more money.
I
So
said we're making more money now. I didn't say we're making more money than men. I said we're making more money now more than ever.
but you said that we
So
don't
you're
even need
taking
their
my
money
comment
to
out of
get.
context.
We don't even need their money to get. So why would we get a divorce and take their money? That's what I thought you said. Maybe I was wrong.
Actually, I want to chime in. I just looked up data, and it says 69% of married in marriages, 69% of married or cohabitating couples, the man earns more than the woman. So we are still in a situation based on the data where men are making more money. I mean, we are making more money as well, but in marriages, men are usually the high earners. And I think that's what you were
Right.
getting at.
And I wasn't saying that women make more money than men. I said we are making more money now more than ever. We have pensions, we have retirement set up, because we understand that we tend to outlive our partners.
And
And again, there is no data showing that women have this propensity to just come out of the woodworks and steal an estranged husband's assets or money, because that's what we're speaking to, right? We're not speaking to alimony, because it's an unfair argument. If a man is a higher earner, or a person is getting paid alimony, that shouldn't suggest that she's going to also be um an evil estranged wife that's going to come out of the woodworks and take everything from the family.
it proves that men don't care about the money because they're not going for the alimony. Also, you said earlier that the women are their retirement is set, but according to this, it says 44% of women feel prepared for retirement, while 61% of men feel financially secure and prepared. So men are most likely, and when I see this in the everyday life because I'm a realtor, Men are more likely to think about retirement, and women are more likely to spend their money on bags and shoes. Let's be real. Like, if we're not being real, then we're never going to get any solutions. The women coming after us are going to make the same dumb mistakes that we are making. I tell my children, hey, we did all this dumb stuff, so y'all don't have to do it. But if we're not being honest and real, like, listen, I know it makes us look bad, but let's look bad today so our daughters don't look bad tomorrow.
Yeah, and it
Cloud
says
Jones.
of the 400,000 people in the United States receiving post-divorce spousal maintenance, just 3% were men, according to census figures. Yet 40% of households are headed by female breadwinners.
Again, if
Got
we're
it.
in
And
a
this is for
position, if we're in a position to make less money, of course we're going to make less money. That still does not speak to this idea that women are these people that are coming out of the woodworks and taking an estranged husband's money. That's the data I want to see. Of course, men
yeah,
make more money.
malicious
We live in
intent.
a patriarchy. Of course, men are going to typically pay alimony. I don't see an issue with alimony. Because if you're going to date a woman that's going to be, you want her to be submissive, you don't care about her education and degrees, that's what you get. You get a woman that when she walks away, you're going to pay her alimony. Now, God
The
bless
problem
you.
with
I
the
don't even
question
know how this got to alimony.
The problem with the question you're asking, though, is that realistically, there's not really a high chance that anyone's going to be recording the data on how many wives, after being estranged, are applying to take money. Like, for example, in the situation where we're even having this conversation based off of, how would anyone even record that data and put it instead? It's not even a fraud case. But the man was obviously robbed. She obviously took the money, but because her name was on the documents, it's not considered fraud. So if we were to count every single occurrence where a woman's name is on the documents and she knew that money wasn't supposed to be hers and she took it, it would never count as fraud. So there'd be no
So
way to
you admit
find the
there's no
statistics on
data.
that. So in order for us to find, so I feel like you're asking for statistics that aren't realistic in order to ignore the realistic statistics we have, which is we have data that shows women's likely behavior based on similar scenarios. So when we have a scenario where women are likely to are able to gain a financial advantage over someone by deception, we find that in many situations like that, the statistics seem to skew very high with women doing that. And I feel like rather than accepting those stats that clearly show the behavior and clearly show the deviation towards a specific type of predatory behavior, you're trying to find a very specific nuanced stat, which no one's going to be recording. So
No, I
obviously
got
the
one.
data is not going to be there.
I got one. Men are 59% of romance scam victims and 3 times more likely to send money to somebody they never met in person. So there you go.
But
I, I,
That
I
even
is
just
that
say
that
one,
think
is
even
about it
that
like
one
that's
this.
isn't the
indicating
stat
an
she asked
It's,
estranged
for.
it's the
wife.
closest one.
Think
But
about
but
it
in
like this.
almost
Like most men,
I'm done.
in
most
almost
men
in
think about it
almost
like
I'm
every
this.
done. Y'all are
scenario.
grasping for
But think
straws
about
now.
this. Like, I just want to say this. Like, okay, if you decide to take advantage of somebody in their body, that's a character thing. But in most cases, when you hear it being spoken about, like women do it too. You hear some teachers doing things to little boys that they're not supposed to do and things of that nature. But when you hear about that, and it's usually hear about it in the news, you usually hear about it about men. That don't mean all men are doing it. That don't mean it's a bad thing towards
Obviously.
all men. It just means that usually when this situation is likely to occur and you're hearing about it and it's public,
Yes.
it's coming from a man. So it's the same thing when you're talking about situations like that. It's nothing personal against women, and it might not be like what we experience. Like I said, it's nothing I experience. It's not my friends don't do, but when I hear about it and when I do hear it, it's mostly coming from women. And I'm not saying a lot of women are doing it. I'm not even saying 90% of women are doing it. I'm not even saying 25. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying when I do hear about it, it could be 10% of women doing it. When I do hear about it, it's women. That's what I'm saying. It could be a very low percentage, and that's probably why you haven't come across it or, experienced it. And it's not always with malicious intent. Now, if we talk about with malicious intent, like he says, no way to really document that because it's, legal. But based on what I hear and when it's talked about with malicious intent, I mainly hear it from women. I don't really hear men bragging about taking women taking money from women. If they do, it's really, really on the low. But it is a lot of women in our society these days that's doing that, and it's making a lot of men not want to commit because they don't know what their intentions are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men, a lot of celebrity men feel like this. They feel like, okay, you got with me, you knew what demons I was fighting, but what steps did you actually take to help me heal them? And a lot of women just feel like, well, I did this and I worked and I did this, but did you take him to therapy? Did you worry about his actual mental health, his childhood trauma, things like that? Women are definitely sometimes can drop the ball when it comes to getting married because they're taught, like y'all said, just from back in the day, they're taught that, oh, we need this to survive. When in reality, like I said, we're making more now than ever. So it's like at some point you're abusing that power that they had given us back in the day to survive. You're still abusing it, like that lady who, because we got to remember, we're talking about the clip. So the clip is not saying how many percentage of women that are like that, but it's a woman literally doing it. You know what I'm saying? She took all the money, she did it, and it's like you got to hold women accountable when it comes to going for a man, even if it's not. Let's just talk about even outside of marriage. That's what their initial thinking is. I need to get a man to pay for this. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to. So what you think is gonna happen when he? Oh, now you cheated on me and you left for more. I'm really gonna take everything. You feel me? It depends on what type of mindset you go into it. And I don't think a lot of women are doing it, but when it is being done, it's done by women. Just
I
like
appreciate
what I just said about men.
I appreciate us having the stats and facts and figures, but sometimes we could take what we're saying and twist it just to make it sound good. Because I don't think you hear yourself. You sound very convenient when you say stuff, but just try to be fair. If you just being objective and not being subjective, then you can just easily say, you know what? I think it's us. I think we're doing this. I think the law's in our favor. We know the law's in our favor. We're not going to agree that the law's in our favor. Like, that's why they don't want to get married. When we start having honest conversations and trying to get solutions, that's when we get somewhere. But we sound really crazy, say just spitting facts and figures and that only when it's convenient. Then we switch up the whole thing. Like, that's how we sound like when we're listening to Red Pill Men. We're sounding like that too. So I just want everybody to just go back, rewatch this, and hear how you sound. It's very convenient. That's all I'm saying.
It just sound like
Everything.
a dodging accountability. That's what it just sound like. Sound like a misery love company thing. Once you find something that one gender does the most, you use a power word to kind of take it away from the gender. And it may sound like a tactic. I mean, y'all can kind of understand why I kind of see it as a tactic to kind of for a woman to get away from it. Like if this characteristic is attached to women mostly, what's wrong with calling a spade a spade? I mean, we know there's certain characteristics that's attached to men, and we call a spade a spade. Nobody's saying, "Oh, that's most men beat their wife or whatever." Nobody's saying, "Oh, that's a character thing." No, niggas is or whatever they doing. That's what they doing, and they got to tighten up. So I don't understand how we just work so hard to not to stay out of the playing field when it comes to pointing the finger at specific genders. It's like the conversation is moving so far away from gender conforming. We're so rooted in trying to get away from gender dynamics and stuff like that, or gender roles or whatever, that we just can't even say, hey, look, yeah, men are fucking up. They're doing that shit, or women are fucking up. And I don't understand why we can't just sit here. I think for the most part, everybody can agree that women mostly have this characteristic based on y'all stories and y'all experiences. And like Dot said, when she hear it, mostly women doing it. So what the hell is wrong with saying, okay, women got a character issue?